In a quiet forest, where moonlight filtered gently through ancient leaves, there stood a small hermitage nestled against the mountainside. There lived an old spiritual master, a man who had once journeyed far and wide, sowing seeds of wisdom and compassion. His hair was snow white, and his eyes deep as if they could see through the endless cycles of rebirth. One night, as the forest breeze whispered and the full moon hung like a silent promise, his wife, a woman who had once renounced the world to walk the path of the spirit, sat beside him and asked a question that seemed to still the air around them. "Master, do children have to suffer the consequences of the karma created by their parents?" He didn't answer right away. Silence stretched as his gaze wandered far toward the ridges of the mountains. Then, gently, he replied, "Dear wife, tonight I will tell you an old story, and after hearing it, you will understand that the seeds of virtue or vice one sows may not always bloom in their own soil, but may instead bear flowers or bitter fruits in the soil of their children." And then he began to tell. Long ago, in a poor little village, there lived a man who worked as a porter. He owned nothing but his calloused hands and a kind heart. Every day, he toiled from sunrise to sunset just to earn 50 coins. Of those, he kept 48 to care for his family, his wife and young son, and gave away the remaining 2 coins as alms to those poorer than himself. His wife often wept in silence, knowing they themselves had little, yet her husband still insisted on helping others. Once she asked, "We don't even have enough for ourselves. Why do you keep giving to others?" The man simply smiled and replied, "If a poor man can still share, then it's not only a blessing for others, but also a good seed planted for our child's future." Time passed, and the boy grew up amidst hardship, but with deep love. He watched his father work every day, early to leave, late to return, never complaining. But when the boy turned 16, tragedy struck. One afternoon, as his father walked home, a wild black buffalo charged from nowhere, knocking him to the ground. In just a moment, the kind father was gone, leaving mother and son alone in the world. The mother wept until her tears ran dry. The boy sat silently, unable to comprehend why someone so kind would die so unfairly. A week after the funeral, the boy asked, "Mother, father was such a good man. Why did he die like that? Now that he's gone, how will we survive?" The mother wiped her tears and whispered, "Your father has returned to the realm of Yama. In this world, good people don't always meet good ends, but the righteous never disappear. The seeds your father sowed will one day sprout." But the boy couldn't accept it. The pain of loss and the crushing poverty pushed him toward a bold decision. He would do something no one had dared before. He would go and seek Yama, the Lord of Death. "If father truly went there, then I'll go too," and plead for his return. The mother was stunned by her son's resolve. She thought it was the foolish talk of a grieving child. But the next day, while she was away working in the village, the boy packed a few belongings and left a note. "Don't worry, mother. I'm going to find father. I believe Yama will understand my heart." And so began the boy's strange and sacred journey, where each step would lead him to lost souls in torment, questions from past lives left unanswered, and the deep mysteries of karma that no book could ever fully explain. The boy left his village at dawn, as the mist still hugged the fields. Barefoot, empty-handed, his eyes were firm, but his heart was filled with uncertainty. No one had ever shown him the path to the world beyond. All he carried was a simple faith. If the underworld exists, then a heart full of filial piety can open its gates. He walked endlessly, through dense forests and desolate plains. By midday, his legs were weary, and he rested beneath an ancient mango tree that stood beside the road. Its trunk was so wide it would take 3 people to encircle it. Its thick green canopy cast a cool shadow, and a faint sweet fragrance filled the air. Suddenly, a warm voice echoed, "Boy, where are you going all alone in such a lonely place?" Startled, the boy looked around. There was no one in sight, only the giant tree rustling gently in the wind. I'm going to find the Lord of Death. My father has passed away, and I want to plead with him to let my father return." After a moment of silence, the voice returned, this time clearly from the tree itself. "How strange. All these years I've stood here, and never has anyone dared journey to the realm of the dead to save a loved one. But if you truly will meet the Lord of Death, then ask him something for me." "Yes, sir. Please tell me." "In my past life, I was a teacher, but I misused my role to have children do errands for me and taught them nothing of value. After death, I was condemned to live as this tree. For countless years, my leaves have not fallen, my branches have not withered. I cannot decay, cannot be reborn. Please ask the Lord why I haven't been released." The boy nodded, bowed to the tree, and continued on his journey. Not long after, he came across a long serpent curled beneath the shrubs. The boy recoiled in fear, but the snake suddenly spoke. "Do not be afraid. I will not harm you. I've lain here for many lifetimes, unable to move, unable to die. The sun and rain strike my body every day, yet death does not come. Are you truly going to see the Lord of Death?" "Yes, I am." "Then ask him, what sin did I commit to be trapped in this half-life, half-death state?" The boy nodded again and promised to ask. As the sun began to set, he arrived at a barren field where a man was digging a stone well. Under the blazing heat, the man toiled, sweat pouring like a stream. The farmer looked up and saw the boy. "Where are you going through this dry land?" The boy shared his story. The man fell silent, then sighed deeply. "I've dug this well for 10 years, hoping to bring water for travelers. But no matter how deep I dig, not a single drop appears. Perhaps I've committed grave karmic sins in a past life. If you truly reach the Lord of Death, please ask for me." "I will ask." Night fell. The boy came upon a large pond. Thirsty, he leaned down to scoop some water when a duck swam toward him, eyes filled with sorrow. "Boy, where are you going?" "I'm seeking my father in the realm beyond." "How strange. I have drifted on this pond for 7 lifetimes. No one has saved me. No one has understood. Why can't I be freed? Please ask him, how can I be released?" The boy nodded once more. Later that night, as he prepared to sleep by the pond, a faint, broken voice whispered. A dead egret lay on the bank, its body dry and still, yet it spoke. "Boy, my corpse has lain here for years, neither decaying nor dissolving. Sometimes the waves carry me into the pond, sometimes they wash me ashore, but I cannot disintegrate. Ask the Lord of Death why I remain trapped in this lifeless form." The boy remembered each plea, and as he lay beneath a sky full of stars, he whispered from his heart, "Father, so many are waiting for answers, but I will keep going, because I believe if one lives with a true heart, even the gods will listen." At dawn, when golden light first touched the grass, the boy continued his journey. The morning breeze was chilly, and dew clung to his eyelashes. He walked on, across places where no man had ever stepped, through the threshold between the world of the living and the dead, where wandering souls roamed and silence thickened the air like mist. And then he stood before a massive gate made of black stone, engraved with ancient symbols unreadable by mortal eyes. Above the gate hung a simple sign, Yamapura, the realm of karma. The boy took a deep breath and stepped through. Inside was a mysterious space, neither dark nor light, as though all illumination came from the soul itself. Standing before him was a solemn deity, cloaked in black robes, holding a golden staff. His face was not fierce, yet in his presence, nothing could remain hidden. It was Yama, the Lord of Death. Yama looked at the boy, with eyes both compassionate and grave. "Child, the path here is not meant for the living. Why have you come?" The boy knelt down, tears streaming down his face. "My lord, my father was a good man. He worked tirelessly each day and still gave a portion of his earnings to help the poor. But he died so early. Now my mother and I are left alone, with no one to turn to. I beg you, please let him return." Yama gazed into the boy's heart, then gently nodded. "The love you hold for your parents has opened the gates of the underworld. But know this, no soul departs as punishment. They leave because the karma of their life has ripened." He invited the boy to sit and offered him a warm meal. After the boy had eaten, Yama softly asked, "Is there anything else you wish to know?" The boy bowed respectfully. "Along the way, I met many spirits trapped in suffering. They asked me to seek answers from you. Why can they not be freed? Yama smiled, and his eyes glowed with deep understanding. Then listen closely. I shall explain each one. He raised his hand, and a great mirror shimmered into view. 1. The tree where you rested. In his past life, he was a teacher. But instead of educating, he made children run errands for him, treating students like servants. He hoarded knowledge instead of sharing it. Now, as a tree, he must stand in silence, unable to speak or teach. Only when he passes on the wisdom he once held back will he be released. 2. The unmoving snake. It was once a wealthy merchant who owned a rare sacred relic but never gave to charity. Greedy to the end, he clung to treasure even in death. Now he lies in a snake's body, curled around his possessions, unable to move. 3. The farmer digging a well. He once denied his daughter's marriage to a poor but good-hearted man out of pride. In this life, he lives alone with that same daughter, waiting endlessly for someone worthy, not realizing that generosity is what unlocks the wellspring of life within. 4. The drifting duck. This soul once possessed a healing remedy, but kept it for himself out of selfishness. Now, as a duck on the water, he carries a cure inside, but no one knows. Only by sharing it can he escape this cycle of meaningless existence. 5. The dried egret on the shore. He was once a wise sage, full of profound insight. But he scorned others and never passed on his wisdom. Now his soul lingers, his knowledge preserved, but his body unburied. When he teaches again, he will be free. Yama looked kindly at the boy, his voice warm like the end of a teaching. Do you see, child? No suffering comes without reason. Whatever we hoard, be it wealth, wisdom, or love, if kept only for ourselves, it will become our own chains. The boy bowed deeply. I understand now, my lord. Yama placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. Your father cannot return. His role in this life is complete. But because of his virtue and your heartfelt devotion, I will bestow upon you the merit he accumulated. You shall inherit it and continue his path of goodness. The boy clasped his hands together. Tears fell, but for the first time, he did not blame fate. He understood. When someone plants seeds of virtue, others may reap the fruit, if they carry enough love, respect, and righteousness to live it well. After leaving the realm of Yamapura, the boy began his journey back. But this time, his steps were no longer heavy with sorrow. Within his heart now shone a quiet light, the light of understanding, of compassion, and of the sacred duty he had inherited from his father. He had not brought his father back, but he carried home something greater. Answers, the keys to release the souls still bound to this earthly world. His first stop was at the old pond, where the dried-up egret's body had lain unmoving through the years. As he approached, the bird's form stirred faintly. A faint voice whispered, "Child, have you brought the answer I've waited for?" The boy nodded. You were a wise sage, but kept your knowledge to yourself. That is why your soul remains trapped in this dead form. Now pass it on. The one who receives your wisdom will be the one to set you free. The egret was silent for a long moment. Then, like a flood breaking through a dam, a brilliant light burst forth from its mouth. Wisdom on karma, virtue, and the path of right living poured into the boy's consciousness. As the final word echoed, the egret's form dissolved into mist, as gentle as dawn's breath. Leaving the pond, the boy returned to the lonely duck floating in the lake. I have waited for this answer, for lifetimes, the duck whispered. The boy replied, your body holds a healing essence, but because you hoarded it, your soul has been trapped here. Offer it to someone worthy, and you shall be freed. The duck looked at him with soft eyes. No one is more worthy than one who walks for others. You shall receive it. A droplet of radiant light, like a jade pearl, fell from the duck's heart into the boy's hands. In that very moment, the duck stretched its wings, lifted off, and vanished into the sky as a beam of pure light. Next came the farmer beside his dry well. The man looked up with hope in his eyes. Do you know why water never comes to my well? The boy nodded. Because you abandoned your daughter's happiness long ago, refusing a suitor out of pride. Until you fulfill your duty as a father, Until you give her hand in marriage with sincerity, the well will remain dry." The farmer bowed his head. Then, as if fate had long been written, he looked at the boy. "Would you accept that responsibility?" From the house, the young woman stepped out shyly, gentle, humble. The boy looked into her kind eyes and nodded. That very evening, under the shade of a tree, the earth and sky as witnesses, a simple wedding took place. By morning, the well overflowed, crystal clear. Together, they journeyed on until they reached the path where the snake lay curled and unmoving. "I have clung to this relic for countless lifetimes," the snake said, afraid it would be stolen. The boy held out his hand. "Then offer up what you treasure most, if you wish to be free of your form." Slowly, the snake uncoiled and released a glowing sacred relic into the boy's palm. A deep sigh echoed, and the snake's body crumbled into ash, carried off by the wind. At last, the boy returned to the great mango tree. Its leaves rustled as if whispering, "I held wisdom once, but none came to receive it." Standing beneath its branches, the boy called out, "I asked to learn. I am here to receive. Please pass it on." And from the leaves, radiant letters of light rained down like snow. The boy raised his face and absorbed it all. The tree shook once and dissolved into a trail of stardust. When the boy finally returned to his village, he was no longer the same child who had left. In his hands were the wisdom of the tree, the healing from the duck, the light of the snake, and the bond of a humble bride. His poor mother wept when she saw him return. She asked, "Where is your father?" The boy took her hand. "Father is gone, but he left me the greatest inheritance, kindness and the understanding of karma." From then on, the boy became a healer to the poor, a teacher to children, a giver of medicine, and lived a simple, honest life beside his gentle wife. In all he did, he remembered the words of the Lord of Death. "You are not burdened by your parents' debt. You are continuing the light they once lit."